Good morning. I'm here talking about becoming indistractable. And being indistractable is, well, it's one of the greatest strengths you can have. Considering that the average workday for most people only has about 2 to 3 hours of productive work, much of that work is just lost to distractions. And so being indistractable, it's an easy way to optimize your work, basically. So if you think someone works only 2 hours in an 8-hour day, then you could quadruple your output just by avoiding distractions. So I'm going to go over Indistractable by Nir Eyal. I'm not sure how you say it, but anyways, starts by basically saying what the value of being indistractable is. And there's other books on this, like Cal Newport's Deep Work, and it's good to be reminded of this because it's very important, because now the way things are headed, basically things you can do by rote, those will be taken over by AI, whereas creative problems, hard problems, these will still need to be done by humans. And he has these two polarities of traction and distraction. Traction is moving you forward to what you really want, while distraction is pulling you away. Talks about internal triggers, and it starts with the basis that motivation exists to alleviate discomfort. This is similar to the phenomenon of loss aversion in behavioral economics. A potential loss hurts more than a corresponding gain would make us feel. Schopenhauer has an essay where he talks about how the balance of life is shifted towards negative, and he, of course, has this sort of anti-natalism borrowed from his Buddhist inclinations. But he has this analogy that when a lion is eating a gazelle, the gazelle is suffering immensely, but the lion is the good experience that the lion is experiencing is not of similar magnitude. He's just having a meal. Anyways, that was a bit of a weird tangent. But yes, we're motivated to avoid pain, and that's probably a stronger drive than seeking pleasure. Yes, and distraction, it emerges from what are at base feelings. And what's important to do is to surf the urge, so to speak, and to actually examine what one's feelings are that are driving one to distraction in the first place. And so the process would be something like you get a trigger, and normally, unconsciously, a response would be cued. But breaking that, you want to actually look at your own mental state and observe that, and just surf the urge, so to speak. Instead of saying, no, I'm not going to do that, you just watch it and you let it pass. And I've even noticed, like, in the sauna, when I wish to leave, it comes as a series of decisions. It's not like there's discomfort that just keeps building. It's like there's these decision points along the way, if that makes any sense. Yes, and yes, another thing we can do to avoid distraction is distraction is a way of investing less in your work, and we think that this will give us pleasure because, well, we perceive our work as drudgery. But if you go even deeper into the work, you can make it into you can make it engaging when you pay just stupid amounts of attention on it. Look into all the details. And yes, another principle is that self-talk does matter, and thinking of yourself as easily distracted or I have an addictive personality, these will beget themselves, so to speak, in the real world. Yes, and he recommends scheduling, which is something I don't do all that much. It's something I should, I know. Yes, and he recommends disabling notifications, or more generally, external triggers which cue a response. So you have to engineer your environment, so to speak. We all know ways to do this. You can put your phone on do not disturb mode and stuff like that. One thing I did was I made a rule that I don't use my laptop at home. If I have to use it, I have to go to a nearby cafe. And I'll be honest, that helped me quit pornography. Totally. What else? Yes. Oh, he recommends making pacts, like making agreements with people, pre-committing to work, or even say you want to commit to going to the gym and you don't want to be distracted. You offer to pay, you waste money basically. Send it to some charity you don't like if you don't follow through on your commitments. And he talks more broadly about workplaces, how open workplaces are poor for actual focused work, which there's been a lot of articles talking about, and how the always on, having to respond to emails late in the evening, weekends, how that, work just sort of bleeds into life, and you get better results when you don't have that. He talks about raising children. I honestly skipped that chapter because it's not relevant to me. And as he talks about relationships, where phone use is often something that keeps people apart. And he recommends if someone's using a phone in a social setting that you ask them if everything's okay. if they are continuing using it, like, it's best they excuse themselves. I myself do this, but it's not common. Like, people will often be at a gathering and they will, like, get a call and they'll pick up a phone and they'll start talking in the middle of a gathering, and they'll actually get mad at you for talking around their call, and it's very unusual. Yes, and also, for intimate partners, you want to remove devices from the bedroom. And another thing you can do is get a timed switch for Wi-Fi, and which shuts it off at, say, 11 p.m. And if someone wants to turn it back on, they can go do that, but they have to go to the actual router and turn it on. Anyways, those are the main takeaways from Nir Eyal's book, Indistractable. And I hope these insights help you to be indistractable at work and fulfill your potential that way. Thank you.